So, welcome to another, to all the classic car enthusiasts. So, we've took the jig out, or the back of it out, and I've put these tapers on the back here, as you can see, just to give it a bit of strength on the side, as you can see. It's all welded here, here, all inside, all the gussets are welded. And what we have done is, there was a taper on this because this bar was actually on top. So what we did was we cut it off and brought it down so that this is level all the way. It is on the front, but it wasn't on the back. And then we've welded it all up. So we just put primer over it, and obviously the round tube's cut off there. What we'll do is now is just pop it back in, and then put the bar back on, and then do the front one. And what we'll show is when you put the bar in, or you take the bolts out of the bar. We did it this morning with the mirror that's there, and it did come up, didn't it, quite a bit. Yeah. You could see the flex in it from the front to the back, and we will show that on camera just to labour the point even more. So we're going to put this back in now, and then we'll re-weld this one up, put some gussets in the back here, get everything welded up on the bottom again, same side, and on this one I need to just, where I've cut it on the corner of the welds, I just need to weld that up and just make that a bit stronger. So. And the master over there has been doing his mini skins, and there they are, 2 brand new door skins, all finished up. And if you look inside, you can see how nice they look on the edges. You can't even see the skin on them. I think is this one still wet? I'm not sure. Let's cut it on a piece of wood, but you can see. There, the skins are really nice, look great on the bottom too. So the 2 doors are done. The bonnet, he's picked the best of the bonnets we could find. That one's got a bit of a dent in it, but we'll lead load it. We're going to sandblast it first, and then because the bonnet we have split, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all
split. So yeah, so we've got a bunch of them, so there'll be a lot for sale after these other 2 minis are done. But there you go. So I'll put it back in, I'll take the other one off, weld that up, and then we'll bring you back and we'll show you with the bolts out, and then when it's actually set back up again how strong it is in comparison. It does flex terribly, and this is a complete car, so you can imagine that's 20 times, 100 times worse when it's got no floor pans in it. Anyway, catch you in the next video, the next clip. So this is the front one. You can see it's all welded in there. On the front, on the back there, Amir's cut these bolts up a bit more. You can see they're elongated, and the reason is we put an extra piece on the end here, you can see, on the end, so now when you put this in, it locks in, and obviously you can't turn the bolts as it's captured either side of that. So I think there's another one down on the floor somewhere. There she is. Again, you can see it's elongated, and it just gets captured. So it can't turn. It can only turn so far in minutes. So I'll let this dry up. Here's right. Let this dry up and put it back on tomorrow. So that's everything loaded up. So that's that one in place, you can see. I'm just going to put this back on. So there's the jig, and I'll put this one back in again. It's nice to see a nice clean bay, and just been working on the rear quarter panel there. And all that rubbed down. There's not too much to do to the shell. Fortunately, with this heritage stuff, you can just use Scotch-Brite on it and just key it ready for paint, for primer. So that's it for another video, and we'll go from there. This is a really handy bit of kit. This hydraulic jack. So it's 500 kilos, I think it lifts. Yeah, it's a 500 kilo jack. I got it second hand for quite a really good price, and it was worth getting because it's coming extremely handy for all the cars, all the bodies. So yeah, so fit that back up tomorrow and we're rocking and rolling again. But it needed to be done, it needed to be welded correctly. And you can see there those welds. So I'll turn this over the other way. Oh, excuse me a second, gentlemen. There we go. Still a bit warm from welding. Excuse me. So have to put it on like that. There we go. Sorry about that. Sorry about the CAD camera work. But you can see why. So there you go. Give you a bit of a shot of that. So we've got the bolts in through the top, and it can't move. And yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. So you can see it's got a nice size all the way along, and it's exactly what I did with the back one that you saw earlier. I made it now so that it's straight. It was actually on the top, and we've recessed it in there. It's much better, and the end of this jig fits on perfect without struggling. So somebody suggested in the comments, and I got lots of comments. I really appreciate all the support everybody's put in for me. I've never had so many comments on a video, and it's really great and heartwarming to. And I want to thank everybody for doing that. But somebody mentioned about actually checking inside. Now I didn't notice, but you know, we've not been in the car. That's the problem. But you can see just how bad that damage is there. You can see that there's virtually no floor pan left here. You can see how bad that is, one of the rubber. And if I put this piece of steel on it, you can see just how, here, you can see, well, if I put that in the middle, make it flat there, you can see how high up it is at the end. This is going to be very difficult to get that back out again. Very difficult. I don't know quite how I'm going to do it, but yeah, there we go. You can see this where the dimple is there, and it's just nothing. In fact, it's the other way. That crease is the other way around. So to go on from that, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the camera, I'm going to turn the camera off. You can see there's even still cobwebs here. Anyway, I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to bring you back in a sec, because I want to show you the theory I have. The theory I've got with this, and my wife sent them an email in German, and I've sent some photographs of the damage underneath. But like I said, I still want them to come here. I want them to come here and inspect it and see it, because the photographs don't tell the whole story until you see it visually yourself. But my theory is what's happened, and I think this holds some water. The person that actually did the tracking is a guy called Christian, and I know that for a fact because he told me that it'd taken quite a time to get it done and get it correct, because of the limited settings on the. I mean, you can only. It's very difficult to do anything like the KPI, the kingpin inclination, because of the way it's set up. But it was more the tracking I was interested in. And I think what happened was because these have got 7.5 or 7, I think they're 7 Yokohamas on them, the big wide tyres. When you're steering, when it's stationary, because there's such a lot of tyre tread onto the ground, they're quite difficult to steer when they're not rolling. I'm sure anybody will tell you who's got these big Yokohamas that they are quite heavy compared to the smaller wheels, or smaller tyres, I should say. So I think what's actually happened is they have a ramp similar to this, except it's not got 4 posts. What it's got is a scissor system in it. So it's got a scissor in the centre and that side as well. But it goes, when it goes down to floor level. So it's flush with the floor. The idea of that is they have a rolling road for their MOT at the end, and you can keep the front of, because in an MOT the car has to be level. When I talk about doing MOTs, when I had my own MOT station in Scotland, the rules have changed a lot since then, of course, but many things I'm sure are pretty much the same. Anyway, so on this ramp, they have a steel ramp like I have here, but internally, inset in the ramp, they have another set of ramps, and it's basically to go into the centre of the car. The idea is when they're doing a test, they can lift the car up and check the suspension or do whatever it is they're doing, or adjust it. So I think what happened was he went to adjust it, found that the arms were a bit difficult to turn because it's trying to pull on the tyres. So he thought, I know what I'll do, I'll jack it up on the front, take the weight off the wheels, and it'll be easier to, because they had to be adjusted quite a bit. You can imagine it was a brand new rack. So what I think he did is, instead of blocking it on the corners, when he brought the piece up, he thought, I know what I'll do, I'll put the two aluminium blocks on the front here and just lift the front off the ground, enough, as like I say, to make it easy to do the tracking. And I know they're aluminium because we've used them before on my E-Type. They normally test my E-Type every year because they have to do it to check wheel bearings and so on and so forth. And I think this is what's happened, and this is why it's even worse, because I can't see any marks on the back of the Mini where something would have been on it. So if you had to set it up straight here, I think I would see the marks, but I can't. Maybe they were put on, but because they were in the right position. And this piece that goes inside, because their ramp is much wider, it's quite wide, so it will fit in between there, because it's only enough to put a car on it. So I think they put it on and he lifted it up, and that's when it went. Now, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, well, you know, chances are he could have done it without even realising it, because maybe with the hydraulic noise he wouldn't hear the cracking or the bending of the floor pans, because they are quite weak. But then I've thought about it again, and the amount of paint and bending, there must have been big flicks of this beige paint on the ramp when he finished. So I don't see how he couldn't have seen it. But then now we've sent them an email, and during the phone call, the woman that owns the company said, but we only did the steering, but she's not aware that this has been lifted. So we're up against it to start with, but I want them over here, and I want them to look at it physically, and not through photographs. Come over here and see the damage that's been done. This pan on that side, this one is reasonably easy, but it has to be repaired. But the one on the driver's side is very badly dished, as you can see from the first bit of video. And that's going to take a lot to get that back down without creases being in it. So, I mean, as I say, we have to do what we have to do. It's got to be done. There's no point crying over spilt milk. It's done. Shouting and bawling is not going to get me anywhere. So, but I do either want some compensation. I certainly want, the minimum I want is a complete respray underneath. Even if I have to repair the bits myself, which, to be honest, I think I probably will do, because I don't trust them to do anything now. But this is a warning for everybody. If you're taking your own Mini, or any car for that matter, I've had at least 8 comments from people with different cars, and I've had a lot of comments on this one, probably 60, 70, or up to 60 or 70. And they're talking about their cars getting damaged as well. People putting up three-wheeler Reliant Robins with a piece of plank under it because there's no way to lift it. You'd be surprised. Now, I can only tell you from my experience having an MOT station. I owned a garage with an MOT station and examined cars. And in the old days, I don't know if it's still the same, maybe Mini Tom or whoever does MOTs now could tell you. The law is you had to have a viewing area. When I first got my MOT station, I had certain regulations I had to work with, you know, like the ramp being recessed in the floor and all this kind of stuff, because we didn't have the space, and we had the rolling road just on, so the front wheels were on the ramp. So one of the things was you had to have a viewing area. Now that could be in an office behind glass, or some kind of safety rail, but they weren't allowed to be they shouldn't be in the workshop for health and safety reasons now, but they had to have somewhere, so there had to be a viewing area for MOTs. So what I would suggest to you, if you're doing this with any of your cars, actually watch the MOT being done, if it's especially a classic car and you put so much work into it. most cars now, most monocoque constructions have got heavy ribs down the sills, and also internally they have box sections, and they're much stronger, and everybody knows the Minis are just not like that. This is why the floors are always so bad. They dent extremely easy on sleeping policemen, or the exhaust banging up or whatever it might be. But this is a warning to everybody, and if Tom from Classic Car Review said that when he went to get his MOT on his car, he talked to the guy and said, "Oh, you know, should I check it up?" And apparently the guy got a bit pissed off because, you know, I'm a professional mechanic, but not everybody knows Minis. They're old cars, and there's not many of them around. Well, there is a few of them around, but they're not, you know, they're not like, I don't know, Volkswagen Golfs, where there's billions of the things. So it's something to bear in mind. So stay safe, keep the faith, enjoy your hobby, and soldier on.